All right, so let's do our wrap up here and move on with our days.
Yeah, although we were recording late in the day, so
Yeah,
it's
I
a little
have two
different.
movies to talk about, so why don't I just get those out of the
Go
way?
for it, because I need to pull up what I watched.
So I watched 9 to 5, which you also watched. It was
Mm-hmm.
our Monday movie with the family over Zoom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and weirdly, the main star of The Asphalt Jungle, which is now we watched this before I watched Asphalt Jungle and before you watched Asphalt Jungle,
Mm-hmm.
was Sterling Hayden, and Sterling Hayden shows up at the end of 9 to 5, which is hilarious. I mean,
Right.
they are, I think, let's see, almost 40 years apart. So just kind of an amusing little connection there. 9 to 5 was pretty fun. There's a the later half of the second act, I think, lost me a little, where it kind of becomes this power montage about like women running the office. I
Yeah.
mean, there's more to. I mean, there's a lot more to it. Like that's the part that lost me. But for the most part, like it's a pretty fun movie. Like it's a pretty good movie. I don't know that I loved it, but it's like we watched Baby Boom, which comes out in a similar era. It's a similar era, like women empowerment, women in the workforce movie, and it's not as interesting or as good to me. Not uninteresting, just kind of has some heart, kind of loses me in places. Whereas 9 to 5 is just it's interesting to see this kind of silly plot unfold, but it's kind of about something a little deeper than that. Maybe not, maybe a little on the nose in places, maybe a little silly in places, but with some really solid acting and some really, fun situations. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I enjoyed 9 to 5. And then I also watched King Kong versus Godzilla. Not whatever that new one is. I don't know the exact title of that one, but from the one from 1963,
Mm-hmm.
which was all kinds of silly.
You
Um,
sent me screenshots, which were pretty fun.
yeah, I felt like there's in the first Godzilla movie, the original, like they go through great pains to like make Godzilla look like a monster, like the "Don't show your
Yeah.
monster" thing, and
Right.
make it look big. And like there's toy trains in it, but like they do a good job of filming it. And in King Kong versus Godzilla, who cares? It's a cute little tank running around, and me and Jill were just like, "Oh, you're so cute!" And oh no, he's gonna step on the tank. Just that kind of silliness. And there's even mild spoilers here. There's even a section where they strap some balloons to the man who is in the King Kong Godzilla suit. I mean, or the King Kong suit. And I mean, it's King Kong, and they put these balloons on him and they float him over to where Godzilla is. And I sent a picture to Sarah of that because I'm like, you know what? This is what's happening in this movie. It's not. I like the original better because it's more earnest, but it wasn't like the second one that came out in between these two was just really boring and just like nothing
Yeah.
happens in it. But this one, like, it's just kooky and silly, and like Godzilla drop kicks King Kong at a certain point, and it's just guys in suits,
Yeah.
and who cares? We're filming them in bright daylight, so it's just like, it was fun. It was fun and silly. And those are the only things I watched this week, other than what we did for um what we've already talked about.
So I also watched 9 to 5 because I watched it with you, and I pretty much agree with your assessment. I enjoyed Dolly Parton a lot, and
She was pretty good.
I'm not as familiar with her. For everything I hear, she sounds awesome. Just have not had any reason to look into her, be any part of her life. But I enjoyed her in 9 to 5, and of course, I also enjoyed Jane Fonda and why am I blanking?
Diane Keaton?
Diane Keaton is not in 9 to 5.
No. Oh
Did you just
shoot.
Lily
Lily.
Tomlin?
There we go. I was thinking of
Um,
working First Wives Club or something, which
yeah.
is a different movie but has a similar sort of thing going on.
And so I'm still watching the K-drama family dramas, which is interesting because I think I explained before, they're like soap operas meets sitcoms, kind of. I don't like comparing directly, but it's funny because so they're like 63 episodes, which is a lot. That would be like 4 or 5 seasons of like something on Netflix at this point. But something on
Oh,
Netflix would be shot over 4 or 5 years, or more. These they would like I'm so curious about the production time on these things because I think I was telling you, I don't think I talked about this on. You just see people make mistakes and they just keep going. And they're not
Yeah.
huge mistakes, but you have to imagine the turnaround time on it. And it makes me think of how I like low budget horror because, they've got sticks and dirt and they're going to make it scary somehow.
Right.
And this is like we've got a set and we've got actors and we're just, you just shoot and go. And
Yeah.
a lot of it's on the actors, and it makes me realize how much I like just acting and characters, which I already knew.
Yeah.
But the one I'm watching is funny because the the parents at the center of it all are literally the exact same actors as in another one I'm watching. Like it's like there has to be something comforting about like, well, and this one lady, I love her. I'm gonna pull her name up because I like her so much, and she's been in some Korean movies, so you may have seen her. Her name is Kim Hae-suk. Kim Hae-suk, and I have seen her now in three K-dramas, and she either owns a restaurant, her husband owns a restaurant, or she's a famous cook. that is the character that she plays. But she's a really good actress, and I really enjoy her.
Interesting.
But it's also the one I'm watching has one of the only gay love lines, as they call them. In these family dramas, like everybody's either married or getting into a relationship. Like the uncle is getting a relationship. That's what these are about.
Right.
There's like, I've only watched like 3, but all 3 have had someone getting pregnant in it. All 3 have had someone moves into the house in them. Like, it's interesting. The tropes are different than the 16-hour. It's fun to see kind of the tropes of one genre versus another kind of a
Right.
thing. But yeah, so it has a gay love line, and it's interesting because they are not allowed to kiss. You can see South Korea is conservative. No one's kissing.
Ooh.
It's a 10-year-old drama, and
Huh.
seeing how, and it's very sympathetic, and the lover who is not part of the family, the main family, he's fully fleshed out. He has his own drama happening. You follow him through this drama, even though he's not with any of the, and that's pretty standard for these shows where you do follow the other person because they're 63 episodes long and you got to fill that airtime with something. So they're just, I was joking to Kirby the other day that like when people start imagining their alternate lives, you just know they're like, how do I stretch this out further? I'm going to have fantasy sequences. Like it's just like, but so it's not abnormal to follow these people who are marrying into the family, but that they gave a gay love line the same respect, like it actually surprised me a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting, and I've been enjoying it, and I've been enjoying like cataloging the new tropes. Like, oh, we're no longer following people who met as children in traumatic situations. Now we've got people moving in. We've got, and the other silly thing this show does is at the end of every episode, someone falls down somehow. Every single episode. And sometimes it's relevant to the plot, and sometimes it just happens and we don't. And it makes me think of the Red Letter Media guys destroying a tape at the end, where you can tell even they are kind of like bored and don't know what to do occasionally, and then they get re-inspired. But like sometimes you're just like, what are you gonna do to make this fall happen?
Yeah.
And like one of them ends with a child falling and crying. It's fun. So anyway, so I've been enjoying that. And they're also like, you wander off during a character who you're not interested in drama and you come back and so on. So anyway, I've been quite enjoying that. And there's 63 episodes I got. Oh, and you watch the seasons change. Like the one I'm watching is on Jeju Island, which is basically Hawaii of South Korea, not North Korea, South Korea. Yeah. And you see that it's like foggy and windy, and you're like, again, with the production, like they just had to shoot on that. Like, what are they going to do? Come back a week later? You don't have that kind of schedule. But watching these shows, it's interesting because with the 16 episode ones, you can tell it's a summer one or it's a winter one. But with
Right.
these, you actually see the seasons change as they are
Huh.
recording it, because
Yeah.
again, they aren't doing this over years. They're doing this over 9 months or something like that. So
Right. Yeah. No, that's interesting.
it's interesting. We were just talking about Marilyn Monroe and like her persona and all this off-screen stuff that kind of affects how you view it. Like for me, there's definitely like all this like just
Like
thinking about everything that goes into making it
the
actually kind of,
machinations of it. Yeah.
yeah. But then I'm also enjoying the shows themselves. Some of them are better than others for sure, and sometimes to keep making those episodes, they
It's
just
gotta
like
film and
stretch
go.
it out. But
Oh, I should mention, I also didn't mention, I'm still watching Stargate and a little bit of The Amazing Race. The Amazing Race is some vicarious traveling I'm doing because
yeah.
pandemic. And it's a game and traveling. And then Stargate, I'm on season 5, I think, which has the other guys episode, which is pretty fun, where they got
Stargate Atlantis, right?
no Well, I'm doing both.
Okay.
Stargate SG1 and Stargate Atlantis. I've never seen Atlantis, which I'm watching,
Okay.
which I've been watching through, and I think I'm nearing the end of season 3, and the writing is just not very good to me on Stargate Atlantis. That's the biggest problem with the show.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is in SG1, which is fun because I think the Doctor character on Enterprise from Star Trek shows up, and there's a number of Star Trek jokes during the episode, and he was filming Enterprise at the time that this episode would have been coming out. So it's just pretty silly. And it's one of the few episodes where the main characters aren't exactly SG1. Anyways. And
Which you only caught because of me.
Jill would like it to be known, my girlfriend would like it to be known, that the only reason I noticed is because of her. And she's right. I didn't notice, and it was her who picked it up. But that was fun. And yeah, there's some other good episodes from this season. And Tony Amendola always, whenever he shows up at Braytech, I'm like, yeah, Braytech, Tony Amendola. Anyways. What are we watching? I haven't given you the movie that I want you to watch yet.
You mentioned a Robert Mitchum noir, but I don't know if that's the actual one you want me to watch.
That's going to be the next one. This one is going to be Mildred Pierce.
I've seen Mildred Pierce.
Oh, you've seen Mildred Pierce?
I have seen Mildred Pierce.
Do you like Mildred Pierce?
I could rewatch it if you really want.
No,
I don't think I've seen it since my late teens, but
I mean, it would either be Mildred Pierce.
I've also read the book, so
let's do Out of the Past instead. Out of the Past, it is.
Now you feel like you're competing. I'm like, well, I've seen it. I've read the book. I watched part of the Kate Winslet, but I didn't.
I like Mildred Pierce, and it's going to leave the Criterion, I think, at the end of the month, so I have to watch it before
it
goes.
But it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Watch Out of the Past. I don't remember it super well, but I don't remember how well or not the depiction of women is, but you like Robert Mitchum, so I'm pretty sure that'll work. And there's at least one scene that I think you will appreciate as being pretty ridiculous for what it is. Yeah. But otherwise, I think it's a good movie. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
What are we watching next for Marilyn Monroe?
I think we're hitting her big years. We're doing Gentlemen Prefer Blondes,
right.
Monkey Business, which Karina Longworth doesn't say anything about. So I don't know what to feel about it. And How to Marry a Millionaire and 7 Year Itch. I don't think we're necessarily watching all of those, but
yeah. Well, that should be interesting. Are you doing anything else outside of that, or you think you're just sticking?
I mean, these shows are 63 episodes, and they don't watch themselves. So
there you go. I'm probably going to be watching some other stuff. With any luck, I'll watch, I don't know, some of the stuff leaving the Criterion, or maybe a Godzilla movie, or who knows what. I don't know. We'll find out. I want to watch some more Godzilla movies, and there was some Criterion stuff that looked cool. I'll probably watch Out of the Past with you because I haven't seen it in a while. So yeah, I don't have any big things I'm watching this week. Anyways, I think it's time to go.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.